The Galactic Senate erupted in laughter as Matthew Griffin, Earth's first delegate, approached the podium. Hundreds of alien representatives from across the cosmos filled the vast chamber, their derision echoing off ornate walls adorned with symbols of interstellar unity. Griffin, a seasoned diplomat in his mid-40s, stood firm despite the mockery. His graying hair and determined expression betrayed no hint of intimidation as he faced the assembled xenopolitical elite. The laughter intensified when Griffin activated Janus, his holographic AI assistant designed to aid in interspecies communication. The Senate's reaction revealed a deep-seated prejudice against artificial intelligences, a sentiment Griffin had anticipated but hoped to overcome. Chelmnoth Senator Zax Vorlax, a towering insectoid alien with clicking mandibles and multifaceted compound eyes, led the chorus of ridicule. His chitinous exoskeleton gleamed under the chamber's lights as he gestured mockingly at the human and his digital companion. Undeterred, Griffin began his address, presenting humanity's case for joining the Galactic Alliance. He spoke of Earth's rich cultural heritage, its scientific potential, and the unique perspectives humans could bring to the interstellar community. But his words fell on deaf ears as the senators continued to jeer, dismissing humanity as a primitive species barely out of its planetary cradle. Frustration built within Griffin as he realized traditional diplomacy would not sway this audience. With a subtle gesture, he activated a hidden function in Janus's programming. The AI's form shimmered and expanded, projecting a massive holographic display that filled the chamber. Suddenly, the laughter ceased, replaced by stunned silence. Before the wide eyes and dropped jaws of the alien delegates, images of Earth's military might materialize. Nuclear arsenals capable of reducing planets to ash, orbital defense platforms bristling with energy weapons, advanced stealth technology that could render entire fleets invisible. The senator stared in disbelief as Griffin revealed the truth. Earth had been aware of alien civilizations for decades, secretly preparing defenses against potential threats. Griffin's voice rang out in the silence, issuing a stark ultimatum. "Accept humanity as equals in the Galactic Alliance," he declared, "or face the consequences of underestimating Earth's resolve." The atmosphere in the Senate shifted dramatically from mockery to fear and grudging respect. Zax Vorlax, now visibly shaken, attempted to call Griffin's bluff. His mandibles quivered as he accused the human of fabricating the display. In response, Griffin nodded to Janus, who projected classified footage onto the chamber's central holoscreen. The video showed human special forces efficiently neutralizing a Chelmnoth infiltration team on Earth years prior. Zax Vorlax's compound eyes widened in recognition and dismay. As the implications sank in, Griffin leveraged this newfound position of strength. He began negotiating favorable terms for Earth's entry into the Galactic Alliance, including access to advanced technologies and lucrative trade routes. The once derisive senators now listened attentively, their earlier prejudice replaced by a mixture of fear and curiosity. As the session concluded, Griffin's unorthodox diplomacy had secured humanity's place among the stars, but it had also sown seeds of tension and suspicion that would shape future interstellar relations. The human delegate left the podium, Janus flickering at his side, knowing that this was only the beginning of Earth's cosmic journey. The Galactic Senate chamber emptied slowly, alien delegates murmuring among themselves as they filed out. Griffin stood at the podium, his heart racing despite his outward composure. Janus flickered beside him, its holographic form shifting slightly as it processed the aftermath of their bold gambit. "Well played, Mr. Griffin," Janus said, its voice low. "I calculate a 92% probability that our position in galactic affairs has significantly improved." Griffin nodded, his eyes scanning the departing crowd. "Let's hope it's enough to secure our future among the stars." In the days that followed, Earth became a hive of activity. News of the planet's true technological capabilities spread like wildfire across the galaxy, drawing the attention of countless alien civilizations. Sleek spacecraft from distant worlds began appearing in Earth's orbit, their designs as varied as the species that piloted them. At the United Nations headquarters in New York, Griffin found himself at the center of a diplomatic whirlwind. He stood in a newly renovated conference room, its walls adorned with holographic displays showing real-time data on incoming alien vessels. Beside him, Ambassador Krelthax of the Zinthorian Trading Consortium examined the information with her 4 arms working in perfect synchronization. "Your reveal at the Senate has certainly stirred up interest, Mr. Griffin," Krelthax said, her iridescent scales shimmering as she turned to face him. "My people are particularly intrigued by your stealth technology. We've never seen anything quite like it." Griffin smiled diplomatically. "We're open to discussing technology exchanges, Ambassador, but first, we need to address the immediate security concerns." As if on cue, a red alert flashed across the displays. Admiral James Hawthorne's gruff voice came through the room's speakers. "Griffin, we've got movement at the edge of the solar system. The Chalnoth fleet is mobilizing." Griffin's heart made. He turned to Janice, who was already processing the incoming data. "What are we looking at, Janice?" The AI's form expanded, projecting a 3D map of the solar system. "The Chalnoth have positioned a significant portion of their fleet near the heliopause. Based on their formation and energy signatures, I calculate a 78% probability they're preparing to strike the Mars outpost." Krelthax's eyes widened, all 4 of her arms tensing. "This is an aggressive move. The Chalnoth rarely act so boldly." "See, they're lashing out after being exposed," Griffin said, his mind racing. "Admiral, what's the status of our orbital defense network?" Hawthorne's voice crackled through the speakers. "Fully operational and ready to deploy on your command. We've also prepped our interplanetary defense fleet. Those retrofitted ships are itching for a real test run." Griffin nodded, then addressed Krelthax. "Ambassador, I apologize, but we need to cut this meeting short. You're welcome to stay and observe if you wish, but I understand if you'd prefer to return to your ship." The Zinthorian scales rippled, changing color slightly. "I'll stay. My people have a vested interest in how this situation unfolds." The next few hours were a blur of activity. Griffin found himself in the heart of Earth's hidden command center, a vast underground complex beneath the Rocky Mountains. Holographic displays filled the air, showing the positions of both Earth and Chalnoth forces. Admiral Hawthorne stood at the central console, his piercing stare fixed on the tactical readouts. "The Chalnoth fleet has jumped," Janus announced. "They've entered Mars orbit." Hawthorne's fist clenched. "Deploy our fleet. Use the cloaking technology to surround them before they realize what's happening." Griffin watched as the holographic representation of Earth's ships blinked out of existence, their positions now marked only by faint outlines visible to those who knew where to look. The tension in the room was palpable as everyone waited for the Chalnoth reaction. Suddenly, the displays lit up with weapon signatures. The Chalnoth had detected the Earth fleet and were powering up their armaments. "Open a channel to their command ship," Hawthorne ordered. A moment later, the snarling face of General Vrokthar appeared on the main screen. The Chalnoth commander's cybernetic eye whirred as it focused on Hawthorne. "This is Admiral James Hawthorne of Earth's Defense Forces. Stand down immediately or face the consequences of your aggression." Vroktar's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement or anger. "You dare to threaten us? The Chalnoth Empire has conquered worlds far more advanced than your pitiful rock. Surrender now, and we may allow your species to survive as our slaves." As Hawthorne and Vrokthar traded threats, Griffin felt a tap on his shoulder. He turned to see Krelthax, her expression grave. "Mr. Griffin, I have a proposition that could prevent this conflict from escalating," she said, her voice low. "My people possess technology capable of temporarily neutralizing both fleets' weapon systems. It could buy time for cooler heads to prevail." Griffin's eyes narrowed. "Why offer this now? And what's the catch?" Krelthax's scales rippled with unease. "Using this technology would reveal capabilities we've kept hidden for centuries. It could jeopardize our standing in the galactic community, perhaps even our security. But the alternative might be a war that engulfs this entire sector." Griffin glanced at the tactical displays, where both fleets hovered on the brink of battle. Hawthorne was arguing for a preemptive strike, his hand hovering over the command to fire. The Chalnoth ships were maneuvering into attack formations, their weapon signatures growing stronger by the second. Time seemed to slow as Griffin weighed his options. Trust the untested Zinthorian technology and risk exposing a potential ally's secrets? Or allow Hawthorne to strike first and establish humanity as a force to be reckoned with, potentially at the cost of countless lives? The decision would shape Earth's place in the galaxy for generations to come. Griffin took a deep breath, preparing to give the order that would set humanity's cosmic future in motion. Griffin's eyes darted between the tactical displays and Krellthax's expectant gaze. The weight of his decision pressed down on him like a physical force. With a sharp inhale, he made his choice. "Do it," he said to Krellthax, his voice steady despite the turmoil in his gut. "Activate the device." The Zinthorian ambassador nodded, her scales rippling with a mix of relief and apprehension. She tapped a series of commands into a concealed device on her forearm. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a barely perceptible wave of energy pulsed through the command center. On the holographic displays, the weapon signatures of both fleets suddenly winked out. Admiral Hawthorne's hand, poised over the fire command, jerked back in surprise. "What in the hell?" Hawthorne growled, his fingers flying over the console. "All offensive systems are offline. Not just ours, the Chalnoth, too." Griffin stepped forward, addressing the stunned room. "This is our chance for diplomacy. Admiral, open a direct channel to General Vrokthar, now." As Hawthorne complied, the main screen flickered to life, revealing the Chalnoth commander's face. Vroktar's mandibles clicked rapidly, his cybernetic eye whirring as it struggled to focus. What trickery is this, human?" Vrokthar snarled. "Our weapons." "Are temporarily neutralized, as are ours," Hawthorne interrupted, his voice firm. "We propose an immediate ceasefire. I offer to personally escort your fleet to a neutral location where we can discuss the situation like civilized beings." Vroktar's organic eye narrowed, but before he could respond, alarms blared through the command center. Janus's holographic form expanded, projecting a global map crisscrossed with red lines. "Emergency alert," the AI announced. "The neutralization wave has caused widespread power failures across Earth's major population centers." Griffin's stomach dropped. On the map, he watched as city after city went dark. Reports flooded in. Traffic gridlock in New York, hospitals switching to emergency power in Tokyo, chaos erupting in the streets of London. "Mr. Griffin," a communications officer called out, her voice strained. "We're getting hundreds of calls from world leaders demanding explanations. Social media is exploding with reports of UFO sightings and alien invasions." The room erupted into a flurry of activity. As Griffin struggled to process the cascade of crises, he felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Dr. Elena Rodriguez, her eyes bright with urgency. "Sir, I have critical information about the Chalnoth," she said, her words tumbling out rapidly. "My team's research has uncovered a physiological weakness in their species. It could be the key to negotiating from a position of strength." Griffin nodded, his mind racing. "Excellent work, Doctor. We'll need every advantage we can get." He turned to Captain Marcus Scora, who stood at attention nearby. "Captain, I have a mission for you. It's high risk, but potentially game-changing." As Griffin outlined the covert operation to infiltrate the Chalnoth flagship, the global situation continued to deteriorate. Reports of civil unrest poured in from major cities worldwide. In Beijing, the Chinese government issued a thinly veiled ultimatum, threatening to reveal all their knowledge of extraterrestrial interactions unless granted equal status in future negotiations. Meanwhile, in Mars orbit, Admiral Hawthorne worked feverishly to lay the groundwork for talks before the neutralization effect wore off. His mind raced, searching for a solution that could turn this potential war into an opportunity for cooperation. "General Vrokthar," Hawthorne said, his tone carefully measured, "I propose something unprecedented, a joint human-Chalnoth mission to terraform Mars. We turn this red planet green together, pooling our resources and expertise." The Chalnoth general's mandibles twitched, a sign of intrigue or perhaps skepticism. An interesting proposition, Admiral, but why should we trust you? As Hawthorne carefully navigated the delicate conversation, Captain Skora and his team prepared for their daring mission. In the hangar bay of Earth's flagship, they donned experimental stealth suits, their surfaces rippling with adaptive camouflage. Remember, Skora briefed his team, his voice low and intense. Our primary objective is intelligence gathering. Capturing a high-ranking officer is secondary but could provide invaluable leverage. Move fast, stay silent, and watch each other's backs. With a final equipment check, Skora's team boarded their stealth shuttle. As the hangar doors slid open, revealing the vast expanse of space and the looming form of the Chalnoth flagship, Skora felt a familiar mix of adrenaline and focus sharpen his senses. The shuttle slipped out into the void, its advanced stealth systems rendering it nearly invisible. As they approached the alien vessel, Skora's mind raced through the mission parameters, contingency plans, and the high stakes resting on their success. Back on Earth, Griffin found himself in a hastily convened emergency meeting with top military and scientific advisors. Dr. Rodriguez presented her findings on Chalnoth biology, her holographic displays showing detailed anatomical scans. Their exoskeletons have a unique resonance frequency, she explained, pointing to a specific area. A precisely calibrated sonic weapon could incapacitate them without causing permanent harm. It's a non-lethal option that could give us a significant tactical advantage. As the implications of this discovery sunk in, the room's atmosphere shifted from desperate to cautiously optimistic. However, the mood was soon shattered by another urgent communication. "Sir," a liaison officer interrupted, his face pale. "We're receiving reports of protests outside UN headquarters and several capital cities. The public is demanding answers about the power outages and alien sightings. Some groups are calling for immediate full disclosure of all extraterrestrial interactions." Griffin's face hardened. The careful balance of secrecy and preparation that had defined Earth's approach to galactic affairs for decades was unraveling in a matter of hours. He knew that decisions made in the next few moments would shape humanity's cosmic future for generations to come. As he prepared to address his team and formulate a response to the growing global crisis, Griffin's thoughts turned to Captain Skora and his team. Their success or failure aboard the Chalnoth flagship could tip the scales between war and peace. In the cold vacuum of space, Skora's stealth shuttle silently docked with the alien vessel. As his team prepared to breach the hull, the captain took a deep breath, steadying himself for the challenges ahead. The fate of two species and perhaps the entire sector hung in the balance. The shuttle's airlock hissed open, and Skora led his team into the unknown depths of the Chalnoth flagship. Their mission had begun, and with it, the next crucial phase in humanity's struggle to secure its place among the stars. The airlock of the Chalnoth flagship hissed open, and Captain Marcus Skora led his team into the alien vessel's dimly lit corridors. Their adaptive camouflage suits rippled, blending seamlessly with the metallic surfaces around them. Skora's heart raced as they moved silently through the ship, every sense on high alert. "Keep your eyes peeled," he whispered into his comm. "Our primary objective is intel. If we can grab a high-ranking officer, even better." The team made their way deeper into the ship, bypassing patrols with practiced ease. They reached a central data hub, and Skora nodded to his tech specialist. "Do your thing, Martinez." Martinez's fingers flew over the alien interface, his specialized gloves translating the unfamiliar symbols. "I'm in," he murmured after a tense minute. "Downloading now." As data streamed into their secure drives, a muffled sound from an adjacent corridor caught Skora's attention. He signaled two of his team to investigate. Moments later, his comm crackled. Captain, we've got a live one. Looks important." Skora's pulse quickened. "Bring them in, quietly." His team returned, half dragging a stunned Chalnoth officer. The alien's cybernetic implants sparked erratically, likely damaged in the brief struggle. "Sub-Commander insignia," Skora noted. "This could be our ticket. Martinez, status?" "Download complete, sir." "Then we're out of here. Move." They retraced their steps, the captured sub-commander in tow. Just as they approached the airlock, alarms blared throughout the ship. Their presence had been detected. "Double time," Skora barked. The corridor erupted in plasma fire as Chalnoth's security forces converged on their position. Skora's team returned fire, their specialized weapons cutting through the alien armor with precision. "Covering fire," Skora shouted, laying down suppressing fire as his team retreated to the shuttle. A plasma bolt grazed his arm, searing through his suit. He gritted his teeth against the pain, refusing to slow down. They reached the airlock, piling in with their prisoner. As the door sealed shut, a final volley of plasma fire impacted the hull, leaving scorch marks but failing to penetrate. "Go, go, go," Skora ordered. The shuttle detached from the Chalnoth flagship, its stealth systems engaging. They rocketed away from the alien vessel, weaving through the debris field of Mars' orbit. Back on the Earth flagship, Admiral Hawthorne watched the tactical displays with growing tension. The effects of the Zinthorian device were fading. Weapon signatures were flickering back to life across both fleets. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "Chalnoth ships are powering up weapons." Hawthorne took a deep breath. It was now or never. Open a channel to all ships, both fleets. As soon as the communication link was established, Hawthorne spoke, his voice steady and clear. "This is Admiral James Hawthorne of Earth. To all ships in both human and Chalnoth fleets, I propose an immediate cessation of hostilities and offer an unprecedented opportunity for cooperation." He paused, allowing his words to sink in. "I invite the Chalnoth Empire to join us in a joint venture to terraform Mars. Together, we can transform this red planet into a thriving world, sharing resources, technology, and the fruits of our labor." On the Chalnoth command ship, General Vrocthar's mandibles clicked rapidly, his cybernetic eye whirring as it processed Hawthorne's unexpected offer. The proposal caught him off guard, creating a moment of hesitation that stayed his hand from immediately ordering an attack. "An interesting proposition, Admiral," Vrocthar growled, his voice carrying a mix of suspicion and intrigue. "But why should we trust you?" As Hawthorne carefully navigated the delicate conversation, Earth itself was embroiled in chaos. The global blackout caused by the Zinthorian device began to subside, power returning to major cities in a patchwork of light and darkness, but the damage was done. In New York, thousands of protesters surrounded the United Nations headquarters, demanding answers about the power outage and the flood of social media reports about alien sightings. Similar scenes played out in capitals around the world. The Chinese government, making good on its earlier threat, released a comprehensive dossier on extraterrestrial life to the public. The information spread like wildfire across the internet, causing a worldwide media frenzy and forcing other nations to quickly follow suit with their own disclosures. In a hastily prepared broadcast studio, United Nations Secretary-General Amelia Cortez faced a wall of cameras, her expression grave but determined. "My fellow citizens of Earth," she began, "today we stand at a turning point in human history. I can now confirm what many have suspected. We are not alone in the universe." She went on to acknowledge Earth's advanced space capabilities and the current situation in Mars orbit. "In light of these extraordinary circumstances, I am announcing the formation of the Earth Diplomatic and Defense Coalition, or EDDC. This international body will manage humanity's interstellar affairs, ensuring that we move forward into this new era as a united species." As Cortez's broadcast continued, Dr. Elena Rodriguez and her team worked feverishly in their lab, analyzing the data retrieved by Skora's mission. Holographic displays filled the air around them, showing everything from Chalnoth military formations to detailed star maps of their territory. "This is incredible," Rodriguez murmured, her eyes darting from one display to another. "Their empire is far more extensive than we thought. But look here." She pointed to a particular star system. "This appears to be a key strategic location, possible a primary shipyard." One of her assistants called out from across the lab. "Dr. Rodriguez, I think I've found something in their biological data. It could be a potential weakness." Rodriguez hurried over, examining the new information. A smile spread across her face. This could be it. A non-lethal option that could incapacitate Chalnoth soldiers without causing permanent harm. We need to get this to Griffin immediately. Meanwhile, in the corridors of the Galactic Senate, news of the Mars standoff spread rapidly. Various alien factions began to take sides, with heated debates erupting in every chamber. Ambassador Krelthax found herself at the center of a storm of controversy. The revelation of the Zinthorians' hidden technology had shifted the balance of power within the Senate, with many species now viewing them with suspicion. "Your people have deceived us all," a Vorak senator hissed, his tentacles writhing in agitation. "How can we trust anything the Zinthorians say now?" As Krelthax struggled to maintain her composure and defend her people's actions, she received an urgent communication from her homeworld. The message made her scales ripple with concern. The situation was escalating beyond anyone's expectations. Back in Earth's command center, Griffin received the intelligence from Skora's mission and Rodriguez's findings. Armed with this new information, he prepared to re-enter negotiations with a stronger hand. "Open a channel to General Vrokthar," Griffin ordered, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. As the Chalnoth leader's face appeared on the screen, Griffin spoke with carefully measured words. "General, we have much to discuss. I propose a compromise that could benefit both our peoples." But before Griffin could outline his offer, a priority alert flashed across the command center's main display. Admiral Hawthorne's voice came through, tense and urgent. "Mr. Griffin, we've detected a massive energy signature approaching the solar system. It's a fleet, sir, larger than anything we've ever seen, and it doesn't match any known species in our database." Griffin's mind raced, processing this new development. The delicate negotiations, Earth's place in the galactic community, and now this unknown threat, everything hung in the balance. As he formulated his next move, Griffin knew that his decisions in the coming moments would shape humanity's cosmic future for generations to come. The unknown fleet drew closer, its intentions a mystery. In Mars' orbit, on Earth, and in the chambers of the Galactic Senate, all eyes turned toward the approaching energy signature, wondering what new challenges or opportunities it might bring to an already volatile situation. The massive energy signature grew stronger as the unknown fleet approached, its presence sending ripples of tension through both the human and Chalnoth forces. Admiral Hawthorne's voice crackled over the comm system, his tone urgent but controlled. "All ships form up on defensive pattern Omega. Prepare for potential engagement, but hold fire unless explicitly ordered." Earth's vessels moved with practiced precision, creating a protective screen around Mars. To everyone's surprise, the Chalnoth ships began to fall into formation alongside them. General Vroktar's gravelly voice came through on an open channel. "We face an unknown threat, humans. It seems prudent to coordinate our efforts." Griffin nodded grimly at the alien leader's image on his screen. "Agreed, General. Let's hope it doesn't come to conflict." As the fleets maneuvered into position, Dr. Elena Rodriguez and her team worked feverishly in the makeshift lab aboard the Earth flagship. Holographic displays flickered with streams of incoming data from long-range scans. "This is fascinating," Rodriguez murmured, her eyes darting between readouts. "The fleet configuration suggests multiple species working in tandem. Look at the variance in ship designs and energy signatures." Her colleague, Dr. Yusuf Amari, pointed to a particular cluster of data. "Elena, are you seeing this? The propulsion systems on some of these ships? They're operating on principles we've only theorized about." Before Rodriguez could respond, Griffin's face appeared on a nearby screen. "Doctor, what can you tell me about our visitors?" Rodriguez straightened, choosing her words carefully. "Sir, we're dealing with a coalition of advanced species. Their technology is, well, it's beyond anything we've encountered, including the Chalnoth." Griffin's expression tightened. "Understood. Keep analyzing. We need every scrap of information we can get." As the unknown fleet entered the solar system, tension reached a fever pitch. Griffin knew they needed a unified approach. He opened a secure channel to both General Vrokthar and Ambassador Krelthax. We need to present a united front, Griffin stated without preamble. I propose we establish a joint communication array on Phobos. We'll broadcast a message of peace, but maintain our defensive posture. Vroktar's mandibles clicked in agitation. A sound strategy, human. But can we trust the Zinthorian not to betray us again? Krelthax's scales rippled with indignation. Our actions were meant to prevent bloodshed, General. We stand ready to prove our commitment to peace. After tense negotiations, they reached an agreement. Within hours, a hastily assembled team of humans, Chalnoth, and Zinthorians had set up the communication array on Phobos's dusty surface. Just as they finished calibrations, a transmission cut through the static. A deep, resonant voice filled the command center. Greetings, denizens of the Sol System. I am High Admiral Zorn of the Galactic Consortium. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a towering reptilian being. Metallic scales glinted under the lights of an alien bridge, and cybernetic implants pulsed with energy along Zorn's temples. We have been observing the recent events in your system with great interest, Zorn continued. Your handling of the crisis has marked your species as one of particular promise. Griffin stepped forward, his voice steady. High Admiral, we welcome peaceful contact. May I ask the purpose of your visit? Zorn's cybernetic eye whirred as it focused on Griffin. We are here to evaluate your civilization's readiness for advanced galactic membership. The consortium exists to guide emerging spacefaring species into a greater community of worlds. A mix of excitement and apprehension rippled through the assembled leaders. Zorn continued, his tone taking on a more formal cadence. We propose a series of trials to assess your capabilities. Your diplomatic acumen, technological prowess, and ethical framework will all be tested. The alien admiral paused, his expression unreadable. Your first challenge begins now. Broker a lasting peace between humans and Chalnoth within one planetary rotation. Failure will result in exclusion from the consortium and potential containment within your solar system. The transmission cut off, leaving stunned silence in its wake. Griffin turned to face General Vroktar and Ambassador Krelthax, the weight of this cosmic ultimatum settling on their shoulders. Well, Griffin said, a hint of grim humor in his voice, it seems we have our work cut out for us. As they began to draft a framework for negotiations, alarms blared across the command center. A tactical officer's voice rang out. Sir, we've detected weapons fire on Phobos. Security feeds showed chaos erupting around the communication array. A group of Chalnoth soldiers had turned on their comrades, attacking both their own kind and the human personnel. General Vroktar roared in fury. Traitors! They seek to undermine everything we've worked for. Griffin's mind raced, assessing options. His gaze fell on a status board showing available assets. Captain Skora, he barked into his comm, assemble your team. We need to secure that facility now. Within minutes, Skora and his rapid response unit were rocketing toward Phobos in a sleek assault shuttle. The captain's voice was cool and professional as he briefed his team. We're dropping into a hot zone with mixed friendlies and hostiles. Low-gravity environment, so watch your movements. Prioritize defending the comm array and any personnel regardless of species. Clear? A chorus of affirmatives sounded as the shuttle screamed toward Phobos's cratered surface. Skora felt the familiar surge of adrenaline as they touched down amidst a storm of weapons fire. Go, 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 he shouted, leading his team into the fray. The battle that unfolded was like nothing Skora had ever experienced. Human and loyal Chalnoth fought side by side against the insurgents, their movements graceful and deadly in the low gravity. Plasma bolts and laser fire crisscrossed the airless battlefield, leaving glowing trails in the dusty air. Skora ducked behind a twisted piece of metal, shouting into his comm. Griffin, we've engaged the hostiles, but we're outnumbered. We need backup. Back in the command center, Griffin turned to General Vroktar. Your move, General. Are you with us? The Chalnoth leader's cybernetic eye flashed. Without a word, he barked orders into his own communication device. Moments later, a squadron of Chalnoth dropships descended on Phobos, disgorging elite troops to reinforce Skora's position. As the battle raged on Phobos, Admiral Hawthorne noticed something odd about the consortium fleet. "Griffin," he called, "you need to see this." A holographic display sprang to life, showing the massive alien armada. Strange distortions rippled through space around their ships. Dr. Rodriguez gasped as she interpreted the data. "They're manipulating gravity itself. The scale of power needed for this, it's beyond anything we've imagined." Griffin stared at the display, the implications sinking in. The stakes of these trials had just risen exponentially. Success could catapult humanity into a new era of technological advancement. Failure could leave them isolated and vulnerable in a dangerous galaxy. As the deadline set by High Admiral Zorn drew nearer, Griffin knew that the next few hours would determine the course of human history. The battle on Phobos, the peace negotiations with the Chalnoth, the looming judgment of the Galactic Consortium, all hung in a delicate balance. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for the challenges ahead. There was no room for error. The future of Earth and humanity's place among the stars depended on what happened next. Next in this cosmic crucible. The acrid smell of ozone and scorched metal filled the air as Captain Marcus Scora ducked behind a twisted bulkhead. Plasma bolts sizzled overhead, leaving ghostly trails in the thin Phobos atmosphere. He risked a glance at his tactical display, assessing the situation. "Delta Team, push forward to the communications array." Scora barked into his comm. "Gamma, provide covering fire." As his orders were acknowledged, Scora noticed something peculiar. A group of Chalnoth soldiers, their chitinous armor gleaming under the harsh Martian light, had taken up positions alongside his human troops. They moved with surprising coordination, complementing the human tactics. A massive Chalnoth warrior sidled up next to Scora, its mandibles clicking in what the captain had come to recognize as a gesture of respect. "Your strategy is sound, human," the alien growled. "We fight as one." Scora nodded, feeling a surge of, was it camaraderie? "Together then," he replied, hefting his rifle. "On my mark." The joint human-Chalnoth force surged forward in a synchronized assault. Plasma bolts and laser fire crisscrossed the battlefield as they pushed the insurgents back. Scora found himself fighting shoulder to shoulder with the Chalnoth warriors, their movements becoming increasingly coordinated as the battle wore on. In the command center, Griffin watched the tactical feeds with a mixture of awe and hope. The seamless integration of human and Chalnoth forces was more than he could have imagined. He turned to General Vrokthar, who was studying the battle with his cybernetic eye whirring. "General," Griffin said, his voice steady, "I believe this is our opportunity. Our people are already working together on the battlefield. Let's make sure their efforts aren't in vain." Vroktar's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "You speak wisdom, human. Perhaps there is more common ground between us than I first believed." As the two leaders began to draft a framework for peace, Dr. Elena Rodriguez burst into the room, her eyes wide with excitement. "Mr. Griffin, General Vroktar, you need to see this." She quickly brought up a holographic display showing complex energy readings from the consortium fleet. "Their ships aren't just manipulating gravity," she explained, her words tumbling out in a rush. "They're bending space-time itself. The implications for propulsion, energy generation, it's beyond anything we've conceived." Griffin's mind raced with the possibilities. If Earth could gain access to this technology, it would revolutionize their capabilities in space. He shared a meaningful look with Vrokthar, both leaders recognizing the stakes had just been raised exponentially. As they returned to their negotiations with renewed vigor, Admiral Hawthorne's voice cut through the air. "Griffin, I'm ordering additional defensive measures around Mars and its moons. With your permission, I'd like to integrate some of the Chalnoth ships into our defense grid." Griffin looked to Vrokthar, who nodded his assent. "Do it, Admiral," Griffin responded. "Let's show the consortium what our combined forces can do." Hours ticked by as Griffin and Vrokthar hammered out the details of their peace agreement. They addressed long-standing grievances, established protocols for future cooperation, and even laid the groundwork for joint scientific ventures. As the deadline approached, they put the finishing touches on a document that could reshape the future of human-Chalnoth relations. With mere minutes to spare, Griffin transmitted the agreement to High Admiral Zorn. The command center fell silent as they awaited the consortium's response. Zorn's imposing visage appeared on the main screen, his cybernetic eyes scanning the document. "Impressive," he rumbled. "You have demonstrated a remarkable capacity for adaptation and cooperation. The first trial is passed." A collective sigh of relief swept through the room, but it was short-lived. Zorn continued. "Your second challenge begins now. We will provide you with a piece of consortium technology. You have 72 hours to reverse engineer and replicate its core function. This will test your species' technological adaptability." A small, nondescript device materialized on a nearby platform, its purpose a complete mystery. Dr. Rodriguez approached it cautiously, her mind already whirring with possibilities. As the implications of this new challenge sank in, Ambassador Krelthax approached Griffin, her scales shimmering with what he had come to recognize as nervous energy. "Mr. Griffin," she said in a low voice, "the Zenthorians wish to offer our assistance with this technological trial. In exchange, we ask for your support in the Galactic Senate. Our position has become precarious since the revelation of our hidden technology." Griffin weighed the offer carefully. Accepting Zenthorian help could give Earth a significant advantage, but it might also be seen as cheating by the consortium. Before he could respond, a junior officer interrupted with an urgent report. "Sir, we're detecting unusual solar activity," the officer said, bringing up a display of the sun. "The flares, they're not behaving according to any known models of solar physics." Admiral Hawthorne leaned in, his brow furrowed. "Increase monitoring of the entire system. I want to know if this is natural or if something else is at play." As the command center buzzed with activity, Griffin found himself at the center of a storm of decisions. The reverse engineering challenge, the Zenthorian offer, the strange solar activity. Each had the potential to dramatically alter Earth's future. Dr. Rodriguez had already assembled a team of Earth's top scientists and was poring over the mysterious consortium device. Their excitement was palpable as they began to unravel its secrets. Griffin turned to address his team, fully aware that their actions in the coming hours would shape humanity's place in the cosmos. The challenges ahead were daunting, but as he looked around at the diverse group of humans and aliens working together, he felt a glimmer of hope. Whatever the galaxy had in store for them, they would face it united. Griffin's eyes widened as Dr. Rodriguez's holographic display flickered to life, revealing the intricate schematics of the consortium device. "It's a gravity manipulator," she explained, her voice brimming with excitement. "The principles are unlike anything we've seen before, but we're making progress." The command center buzzed with activity as scientists and engineers pored over the data. Griffin nodded, then turned to address Ambassador Krelthax, who waited expectantly nearby. "Ambassador, we appreciate your offer of assistance," he said carefully. "We'll accept, but discreetly. We can't risk appearing to violate the trial's terms." Krelthax's scales rippled with what Griffin had come to recognize as relief. "Wise decision, Mr. Griffin. Our scientists have prepared data packets that should prove illuminating." As the Zenthorian data began flowing into Earth's systems, alarms blared from Admiral Hawthorne's station. The grizzled officer's face was grim as he called Griffin over. "The solar activity we detected? It's artificial," Hawthorne reported, pointing to a series of readouts. "Something's manipulating our sun, and it's far beyond our tech level." Griffin's mind raced with the implications. "We need eyes on this, Admiral. Assemble a task force." "Already on it," Hawthorne replied. "I'm thinking Captain Scora. He's proven he can work with our new Chalnoth allies." Within hours, a joint human-Chalnoth fleet approached the sun, their ships gleaming with experimental shielding based on the partially decoded gravity manipulator. On the bridge of the lead vessel, Captain Scora stood shoulder to shoulder with his Chalnoth counterpart, Grakthor. "Entering the Corona now," Scora announced, his voice steady despite the tension. The ship's view screens filtered the blinding light, revealing ghostly structures hidden within the sun's fiery embrace. Grakthor's mandibles clicked in astonishment. "By the void, what is that?" Before Skora could respond, a priority transmission cut through the comm channels. Griffin's face appeared, lined with worry. "Captain, we've got a situation back home. Several alien factions are pushing for Earth's isolation, claiming we've violated the trial by accepting Zinthorian aid. Stay on mission, but be prepared for anything." Skora acknowledged, refocusing on the task at hand. As they probed deeper into the sun's mysteries, Earth's political landscape grew increasingly treacherous. In the research facility housing the reverse-engineered prototype, Dr. Rodriguez made final adjustments to the device. "Initiating test sequence," she announced, her team poised at their stations. The air hummed with energy as the prototype whirred to life. For a moment, it seemed to be working perfectly. Then, without warning, alarms blared. "Gravitational anomaly detected," a technician shouted. "It's growing exponentially." Objects began to float, then hurtle across the room as localized gravity went haywire. Dr. Rodriguez fought against the chaotic forces, struggling to reach the controls. "We need to shut it down before—" Her words were cut short as a wave of distorted gravity slammed her against a wall. Through the haze of pain, she saw General Vrokthar burst into the room, leading a team of Chalnoth scientists. "Hold on, humans," the general roared. Working in perfect sync with the Earth team, the Chalnoth applied their own gravity manipulation technology to counteract the anomaly. Slowly, agonizingly, order was restored. As the dust settled, Dr. Rodriguez found herself looking up at Vrokthar's imposing form. The Chalnoth general extended a clawed hand, helping her to her feet. "Your courage is admirable," Vrokthar rumbled. "Let us perfect this technology together." Back in the solar corona, Skora's task force made a discovery that would change everything. Hidden within the sun's turbulent surface was an alien outpost of staggering complexity. "Command, are you seeing this?" Skora breathed, transmitting visual data back to Earth. The response was immediate. High Admiral Zorn's face appeared on the main view screen, his expression unreadable. "All trials are hereby suspended," the consortium leader declared. "Hold position. We're coming to you." As the massive consortium fleet approached, Griffin knew they were at a crossroads. The ancient outpost represented power beyond imagination, but it could just as easily spark a war that would tear the galaxy apart. Taking a deep breath, Griffin opened a channel to High Admiral Zorn. "Admiral, I have a proposal," he began, outlining a plan for a joint operation between Earth, the Chalnoth, and the consortium. Zorn listened impassively, his cybernetic eye whirring as he processed the suggestion. After what seemed like an eternity, he spoke. "Your proposal has merit, human. We will consider it." Just as the tension reached its peak, chaos erupted once more. In the orbital research station, the gravity manipulator prototype surged with unexpected power. Dr. Rodriguez and her team scrambled to contain it, but it was too late. A shimmering portal tore open in the fabric of space, its swirling vortex defying all known laws of physics. As sensors from every faction in the system focused on this new phenomenon, a startling discovery was made. The wormhole's exit point was detected mere kilometers from the ancient solar outpost. Griffin stared at the holographic display, watching as the delicate balance of power shifted once again. The wormhole presented an opportunity and a threat in equal measure. As leaders from every faction clamored for his attention, Griffin steeled himself for the decisions ahead. The next few moments would shape the future of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. And as Captain Skora's voice crackled over the comm, reporting unusual activity from the alien outpost, Griffin knew that their greatest challenges still lay ahead. Ahead, the wormhole's sudden appearance galvanized everyone into action. Griffin's mind raced, recognizing the unprecedented opportunity before them. "High Admiral Zorn," he said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. "I propose an immediate joint expedition through the portal to investigate the ancient solar outpost." Zorn's cybernetic eye whirred as he considered the proposal. After a moment that felt like an eternity, he nodded. "Agreed. The strategic importance of this discovery cannot be overstated." Within hours, a task force was assembled. Captain Marcus Skora stood on the bridge of the lead human vessel, his posture rigid with anticipation. Beside him, General Vroktar's mandibles clicked with nervous energy. On the main view screen, Commander Zelna of the Consortium fleet awaited the order to proceed. "All ships report ready, Captain," Lieutenant Chen announced from her station. Skora nodded. "Initiate wormhole transit on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark." The fleet surged forward, enveloped by the shimmering vortex. For a breathless moment, reality seemed to twist and bend around them. Then, with a lurch, they emerged into the blinding light of the sun's corona. Alarms blared as the ship's sensors registered the intense radiation and energy surrounding them. But the advanced shielding held, a testament to the combined ingenuity of human, Chalnoth, and Consortium technology. "Status report," Skora called out. "Shields at 94% and holding," Chen responded, "all ships accounted for." General Vroktar growled in approval. "Impressive, humans. Your adaptability serves us well." As the fleet approached the massive structure of the solar outpost, Skora felt a mix of awe and trepidation. "Prepare boarding teams," he ordered. "We're going in." The docking procedure was tense, but ultimately successful. Skora led the way, his EVA suit gleaming in the harsh solar light. Vroktar and Zelna flanked him, their own suits modified to accommodate their alien physiologies. As they entered the airlock, Zelna spoke, her voice tinged with reverence. "This structure predates even the oldest Consortium records. What secrets might it hold?" They were about to find out. As the inner door slid open, revealing vast alien corridors, the outpost seemed to awaken. Lights flickered to life and a low hum filled the air. Suddenly, a shimmering barrier sprang into existence, blocking their path. Skora's hand instinctively went to his weapon, but Vroktar held up a clawed hand. "Wait," the Chalnoth general rumbled. He approached the barrier, studying it intently. "This is not meant to harm. It's a test." Zelna nodded in agreement. "A security measure. It likely requires input from multiple species to deactivate." Working together, the three leaders deciphered the alien interface. As Skora pressed his hand to a glowing panel, Vroktar aligned his claws with a series of grooves, and Zelna interfaced directly with a pulsing orb. The barrier dissipated with a soft chime. "Remarkable," Skora breathed. "It's as if this place was designed for cooperation between species." As they ventured deeper into the outpost, they encountered more challenges. Gravitational anomalies forced them to recalibrate their suits on the fly. Holographic puzzles required their combined knowledge to solve. With each obstacle overcome, the team grew more cohesive. Back on Earth, Dr. Elena Rodriguez monitored their progress through the wormhole link. Her fingers flew over holographic controls as she worked to maintain the portal's stability. "Energy fluctuations are increasing," she reported to Griffin. "The outpost is drawing unprecedented power from the sun." Griffin's brow furrowed. "Can you get a read on what it's doing with all that energy?" Before Rodriguez could answer, Admiral Hawthorne cut in, his face grim on the interface. "Sir, we're detecting massive solar instability. Whatever that outpost is doing, it's affecting the entire star." The implications hit Griffin like a physical blow. If the sun destabilized, Earth, the entire solar system, would be doomed. Inside the outpost, Skora's team finally reached what appeared to be a central control room. As they entered, dormant systems surged to life. A massive holographic display materialized, showing a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Selena's eyes widened as she interpreted the data scrolling across the display. This is beyond anything we've imagined. The outpost isn't just studying the sun. It's capable of fundamentally altering its properties. Vroktar growled in astonishment. "Stellar engineering on a scale we thought impossible." As the implications sank in, alarms blared throughout the structure. Skora's comm crackled to life, Rodriguez's voice filled with urgency. "Captain, the outpost systems are overloading. We're detecting a buildup of energy that could trigger a catastrophic solar event. You need to shut it down now." Skora scanned the alien controls, his mind racing. Doctor, we need your help. Can you interface with the outpost's systems through the wormhole? Already on it, Rodriguez replied. After a tense moment, she continued. I've got it. There's a shutdown procedure, but it requires simultaneous input from 3 different locations within the outpost. Skora nodded grimly. Understood. Vrokthar, Zelna will each take a station. Let's move. The team split up, racing through the deteriorating structure. Gravitational anomalies sent debris flying as energy surges lit up the corridors. Skora ducked under a fallen beam, his heart pounding as he reached his designated control node. In position, he called out. Ready, Vrokthar's gravelly voice responded. Prepared for shutdown, Zelna confirmed. Rodriguez's voice came through, tense but focused. On my mark. 3, 2, 1, execute. Skora slammed his hand down on the alien interface, feeling it pulse beneath his palm. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, with a low groan, the outpost began to power down. As systems went offline, a final burst of data streamed through the wormhole to Earth. Rodriguez gasped as she saw what they'd received. It's everything, she breathed, the sum total of the ancient civilization's knowledge and technology. As the crisis abated, the joint fleet returned to Earth. High Admiral Zorn's massive ship loomed over the planet, but this time, it didn't feel like a threat. In a ceremony at the United Nations headquarters, now attended by a dizzying array of alien dignitaries, Zorn's voice boomed through the chamber. Humanity has proven itself beyond all doubt, he declared. We formally invite Earth to join the Galactic Consortium as full members. Griffin stepped forward, feeling the weight of history on his shoulders. On behalf of humanity, we accept. As applause filled the chamber, Griffin caught sight of General Vrokthar. The Chalnoth leader nodded respectfully, then turned to address Zorn. The Chalnoth, too, wish to petition for membership, Vrokthar announced. Our alliance with Earth has shown us a new path. The ceremony concluded with a gesture that left the assembled dignitaries in awe. Griffin, Vrokthar, and Zorn jointly activated a modified gravity manipulator. A small, stable wormhole shimmered into existence, linking Earth directly to the consortium's headquarters. As Griffin stared into the swirling portal, he felt a profound sense of possibility. Humanity's journey among the stars was just beginning, and the path ahead was filled with untold wonders and challenges. With new allies at their side and ancient knowledge at their fingertips, they were ready to take their place in the cosmic community. The wormhole pulsed, a constant reminder of the new era that had dawned. Beyond it lay...
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.